Okay, so welcome back to another video at Ada Book. My name is Malik, and today we're going to be talking about gateway books. So, whenever you start anything, whenever you start something new, you always have to start somewhere. Whether it's starting a new game, going to the gym, starting a new hobby, drugs, there's always somewhere you need to start from, and sometimes there's somebody to introduce you to that new thing. And for books, it's no different. Now, for me, it was my cousins that introduced me to fantasy, not drugs. Well, I have a vivid memory of when I was younger, and my cousin had this VHS, and we were in her room, and she popped it in. Lo and behold, it was Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. As I sat there, my tiny 8-year-old mind proceeded to be blown as I watched what was happening on screen. And then my other cousin one day came up to me and was like, "Oh yeah, remember that movie we watched? This is the book that is based off of." And my mind then was blown again because I devoured that book when he gave it to me. And then he proceeds a couple years later to pull out this book, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I like this book I found at the library. You'll probably like it too." And it was Aragon. So he's 2 for 2, obviously. My other cousin, she needs to step her game up. She's 1 for 1. So let's get into exactly what gateway books are. So gateway books are just books that are, used to introduce somebody to a genre. A good example of this is Harry Potter. Harry Potter is a great gateway book into fantasy, especially for young readers. Another great book for young readers is The Inheritance Cycle, Aragon by Christopher Paolini. And I think gateway books are probably the most important thing that a genre can have. There are a lot of us that wouldn't be here today without some of the books, the gateway books that we've read over time. And I think these books are the most important books that we have in a genre because gateway books are meant to be books that are easily accessible to all readers. And I think these books do a great job of doing exactly that. Obviously, Fourth Wing, you got to be a little bit older. But I mean, I was reading some stuff when I was in my teens that I definitely should have been reading. Obviously, something like Fourth Wing and Harry Potter, Warstorm Chronicles are not books that I would recommend to like elementary readers. But when we get to like end of middle school, I kind of read when I got to end of middle school, I was kind of reading everything, and I would almost do the same thing too. But I think these books are so important because they're books that are easily accessible to all readers. It's easy to pick up and also easy to recommend these books to people. I also think that these books do a great job of introducing new readers to general things that we as experienced readers or those as experienced readers can easily recognize as like, tropes or cliches, things that we would probably call repetitive. Gateway books are great for just kind of being the book that introduces a reader to that thing. But I think that gateway books get shit on in, I don't know about other genres, but science fiction and fantasy specifically, maybe fantasy specifically, I think gateway books get shit on a lot of the time because of a couple of reasons. The first reason, sometimes I think people are just salty. I think a lot of times people are salty at gateway books being more popular than, their favorite series that's out. An example of this would be like Fourth Wing and Stormlight. I love Stormlight. I've never read Fourth Wing, nor I probably read Fourth Wing, maybe the first book. But I think people are mad at Fourth Wing for being as popular as it is and outselling things like books by authors like Brandon Sanderson. Maybe their favorite series to them is, this is literature to them, while gateway books are, it's pretty bland. But I think that's just the thing that if you have a different perspective on it, you would realize that to a new reader, a gateway book, the things that are in a gateway book, whether it is cliche or repetitive or unoriginal, this is probably the reader's first time experiencing those specific tropes and cliches. So it's not a cliche to them because they, are reading it for the first time. They're probably experiencing it for the first time. And so, when I was reading something like Aragon, spoilers for Aragon, and I realized that Brahm was his father, I was like, holy shit, not knowing, Star Wars did this years ago. This is just things that you don't recognize as being a new reader, but experienced readers that are well read, have obviously come across these things over and over again. This reminds me of a story that I had of one of my other cousins who's also a reader. I was probably in middle school and we were over at his house and he had a friend over, and they're older. They're older than me. They're probably in like end of high school and I'm in, I don't know, middle school, like 7th grade or some shit. And I find out that his friend is a reader and we get to talking about books. I tell them, my favorite series is Harry Potter. And the friend proceeds to go into point by point detail about how Harry Potter is, just a cliche and is unoriginal. And the author of Harry Potter just, copied a bunch of shit from other authors, talking about how Dumbledore is Gandalf and the Horcruxes are just a copy of the ring from Lord of the Rings. And I was like, all right, guy, I don't know what you want me to say to that, but okay. And obviously, at the time, I didn't have a rebuttal for this guy. I was just looking at him like, okay, what do you want me to do with that information? But if I could talk to him right now, I would go through and list point by point detail to him the things that he was listing and make sure he understands the difference between a trope and a cliche and what is actually unoriginal. And these are the arguments that I think about that happened 10 years ago when I wish I would have said this thing that I know now. But c'est la vie. All that to say, I think that, there are people that they have their favorite books. They see gateway books as being that they see gateway books as something that is not as engaging or as depth or dense as probably their favorite book. And they're like, well, I don't understand why everybody cares about this book when they should actually care about this, my favorite book. When nobody cares, bro. Just like, don't, if there's anything you take from this video, don't be the friend. Don't be that guy. Cause nobody likes to be that guy. Nobody likes when that guy is there. Okay. But I generally feel like this is the reaction to gateway books in the community. I definitely feel that I think there is a space for gateway books in our community and for readers to, get introduced to gateway books. I definitely know that there are people that are happy to point some people in the right directions when it comes to when they're looking for a book to start. But I think overall, people generally just bash on gateway books. And it's not surprising to me that they do, because you would think if it's a gateway book, why would they read it? The fact that it's a gateway book is the reason why, experienced readers would also pick it up, because it's a book that is easily accessible to readers of, almost any age, and that it's a book that is, popular. I don't see no reason for like well-read, experienced readers to not pick it up. I think I just wanted to come on here and say, like, don't shit on gateway books. I think gateway books are probably the most important thing in our genre, because after that new reader is done reading gateway books and, they've read all of Aragon, they've read all of Fourth Wing or whatever, they want to read something else. They want to read something new. Instead of being that guy that is shitting on the gateway books, be the person that is going to introduce them to, their new fixation. After I finish Aragon, after I finished like Percy Jackson, I think that's when I really started branching out and looking for new books for me to read. I ended up finding Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson, and I got lost for like 3 years in the Cosmere, and now I'm here. So there's definitely, space for these books in our community. I think it's just more so, how to direct readers from something that they liked when they get a gateway book to, their next read, their next fixation, their next, what could possibly be their next interest. That's it. Thank you all for watching. Make sure you subscribe because I have a list of gateway books that are coming out. If you are a new reader and you want a list of gateway books, a list of books that can get you into fantasy, I think, yeah, a list of books that can get you into fantasy, then if you are a new reader and you want like a list of books that can get you into fantasy, make sure to subscribe so that so you'll know when that video comes out. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.